Time with Elevation every weekend. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about all 6 of these fat bike tires. Whether new tires for your bike are only an as-needed pain point for you, or if you are someone who, like me, geeks out on tires, I definitely have you covered in the coming weeks. Personally, I've always actually enjoyed it when it was time for new tires on any of my 4x4 Jeeps or trucks, and that carries over to my fat and mountain bikes as well. Good tires, especially for fat bikes, are not cheap. Therefore, you want to make sure you get the best tires for the types of conditions you tend to ride. Also taking into consideration maximum performance versus durability. Terrene Tires is a fat bike focused tire brand, even though they do have some non-fat bike tire options as well. Terrene was purchased in July of 2022 by Steve Kazmarek, who also happens to own Borealis Fat Bikes. Even with the benefits of obviously matching a fat bike brand and a fat bike focused tire company, they do still remain distinctly separate companies. And when you order your Borealis fat bike from the factory, you can still choose to get non-Terrene specific tires if you so choose. But the question is, would you want to? And that is the big question I'll be putting to the test and hoping to answer for you all. Steve reached out to me in late 2022, and that's what led to me having the opportunity to review all these tires you see here, which are all provided by Terrene. All Terrene tires are designed to be tubeless ready, using high quality casings and high natural rubber compounds. They also offer most of the tires in their line in a light, a standard, or a tough version, which gives the user the opportunity to select a tire based on their desire for maximum lightweight performance versus maximum durability. And as someone who often does local day rides and enjoys performance, but also does much longer, often remote rides here in the Colorado backcountry, performance and durability are things I greatly appreciate and have a need for. In this video, I'm going to show you what I have in my possession right now for review, and I'm going to give you a high-level overview of each tire. But most importantly, as I get to ride these tires in various conditions, I will bring you specific reviews on each tire as I get a chance to rack up miles in various types of riding here in Colorado. So stay tuned for all that, and if it's something you're interested in following along on, definitely subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss a thing. So let's get started on the smaller side of the spectrum and work our way up. This first tire is the only non-fat tire, and it's the 29 by 2.8 inch Terrene Cake Eater. If not riding fat, 29 plus is probably my favorite tire size to ride. And since 29 plus bike and tire options have been declining in recent years, I'm really glad Terrene is still offering this tire to the market. This tire is mounted on a 29 by 45 millimeter wide Velocity dually wheel. It is the tough 60 TPI casing. It weighs in at 1,132 grams and costs a very reasonable $80. Primary uses are for faster rolling summer type riding, so getting it out on your single track trails, for bike packing, and even some gravel grinding. Next up, let's look at the first fat tire, which is the 27.5 by 4 inch Cake Eater. This tire is mounted on a head 27.5 by 80 millimeter wide, big aluminum half deal wheel. It is the light 120 TPI casing. It weighs in at 1,325 grams and lists for $120. Primary uses for this tire would be groomed snow riding, but it would also be a good fast rolling tire in summer dirt, and it's really not that far off of the 29 plus variant. And just as an aside, I did want to mention the Cake Eater is the most diverse model that Terrene sells in its lineup. There are over 20 variants in size, casing options, and even studded options too. The next tire we'll take a quick look at is the 27.5 by 4.3 inch Yippee-Ki-Yay. It's also mounted on a head big aluminum half deal 27.5 by 80 millimeter wheel and is the light 120 TPI casing. This tire weighs in at 1,560 grams and also costs $120. The primary designated use for this tire is a year-round all-condition fat bike tire, from ice and snow in the winter and to loose dirt and sand on the trails. I already have a feeling that this could end up being the Goldilocks tire for me, taking the tread pattern and the overall size and tire volume into account. I have a feeling this tire is going to do a really good job at checking all the boxes for my year-round type of riding I do here, and I'm really excited to get it out in the snow and on the trails. Next up in the lineup is yet another Cake Eater, and this one is a 26 inch wheel size by 4.6 inch wide tire. This tire is mounted on a head 26 by 85 millimeter big deal full carbon wheel, and the tire is the light 120 TPI variant. The tire weighs in at 1,490 grams and costs $120. Primary uses are much the same as the other Cake Eaters that I've mentioned. This one does offer a little more tire volume and gives an option for those with 26 inch wheels. And I'll be really interested to see how this tire stacks up to the 27.5 versions as well. Tire number 5 is yet another Cake Eater. This one is a 27.5 by 4.5 Cake Eater studded tire. I have this one mounted on a 27.5 by 80 millimeter Sun Reglay mule foot wheel. The tire is the light 120 TPI casing, but again, it does have studs. It weighs in at only 1,660 grams, which I think is quite light for a studded tire. It does have a higher cost though of $200. As a studded tire, obviously the primary use is for icy conditions, but otherwise it maintains most of the same attributes as the other cake eaters mentioned. And last but not least is the 26 by 5 inch Johnny 5. I currently have this mounted on a 26 by 80 millimeter Surly Other Brother Darrell wheel. It is the light 120 TPI casing. It weighs in at 1,700 grams and costs $120. Primary uses are obviously anything that are max flotation, max traction, max volume conditions, which are often things I encounter myself, as the Rocky Mountain backcountry can be really unpredictable. The only fat bike tire from the Terrene lineup I do not have here is the Wazia, which is a 26 inch tire only, and it basically splits the difference between the tread aggressiveness and the tire volume of the cake eaters and the Johnny 5 that I have on hand. So these are the wide range of Terrene tires I will be putting to the test in the coming weeks and months. I have linked the Terrene website in the pinned comment and the description below if you want to go on their website and check out all the options for yourself and maybe even try a set for your own bike. If you have any questions, suggestions, or things you would like me to test specifically with any of these tires, drop those in the comments down below. And as mentioned earlier, please subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss the reviews on any or all of these tires. I have lots of fresh ride content and bike and product reviews on the horizon, so stay tuned for more. Thanks a lot and have a great day.